Hello everyone, welcome again to another session. So finally markets in red, right? There's been a lot of panic in markets, especially I think people who are holding IRCTC and IEX. If you had a plan, probably there was nothing to panic about, but people who would panic and people who would sell off would probably be people those who had panicked, right? So it can be any shares, which can go up like this, but whatever it is, I think even if you were holding RCTC, I wouldn't be selling today, because according to me at least, my minimum stop loss would have been around 4,700 odd. So even if I were holding this, I'd probably not sold it. And even the case of IEX, right? So IEX, even though we have that, so we had 4 days of indecision and probably we went up. So probably my stop loss would have been around 618 or even around 780 odd. But whatever it is, the point I want to drive today is markets will be volatile and will continue to be volatile, for next many decades. You're going to have this ups and downs, and it's going to be part and parcel of stock markets. The point is, are you comfortable with such moves? Unless you're not comfortable with such moves, there is no way you're going to make money consistently, and that's really going to be a difficult game, unless you're not comfortable with such moves. And if you're a short-term trader, probably yes, booking profits makes sense. But if you're a positional trader or an investor, it doesn't really make sense to sell off a stock like IRCTC or IEX just looking at today's moves, right? So think about it. You have a lot of time ahead. I'm sure most of you are in your 30s, or probably at least, yeah, I'm in my 30s, so I do have some time. And I think if you're in your 30s, you have a lot of time to think about, because at least you're going to be compounding your money for the next 20-30 years, and you need to have a plan. And only if you have a plan, you're going to survive in the markets. So start working on that. As I mentioned before, every weekend spend some time. If you don't have time during weekdays, it's totally fine, but weekends at least you ought to spend some time reviewing what you're doing. And you need to do such things, otherwise it's not going to make money. Okay, so I hope you will learn lessons slowly and steadily. You have to pay a tuition fee to market, and I paid my fees. I've come till this point after paying a fees, which is the losses, and I hope you also will learn with less losses. Okay, so otherwise, yes, markets don't obviously we spoke about yesterday about 3 days continuous gaps, and we did also speak about any signs of red candle in the first 5 minutes or 15 minutes. So for example, if you see this morning, right, so we opened at 565, right? We opened there and we went all the way up, and then we kind of consolidated. Now, hindsight, obviously, it's easy to tell that you could have shorted the markets there. Then probably, that was an entire swing move up. But at least, I felt that even if you did not short the markets there, you should have probably at least shorted the market somewhere here at least, right? So we did. There was weakness in the markets, and then we had a move up, and then you could have shorted the markets at this point. But yeah, if you're not intraday trader, it's totally fine if you don't short markets. It's not everyone's cup of tea. And yeah, even I don't trade intraday markets very often, and I've been just busy a couple of days, no option trades as well. So it does take a lot of effort and time to trade intraday. It takes a lot of skills, so it's totally fine. But if you were trading, then probably you need to review. Were you afraid to execute your trade at this point? Or at this point, you probably exited the trade, but then you could have been completely whipsawed. There was stop loss was still here. Probably you couldn't have exited if you had a plan. But at least that point was a proper exit, and you should have probably carried your positional shorts if you're a positional trader as well, right? But otherwise, I think if you just look at the hourly charts, which is the first thing that I look at, I think there is, we did dip towards that point, but we kind of stalled again during end of the day, right? We didn't really go beyond that point, and we kind of closed above that hourly candle low, right? And also, I think Bank Nifty looks strong. Let's look at Bank Nifty before we come here. I think I spoke about one of the trend lines in Bank Nifty yesterday, and we said, So I did speak about a couple of trend lines, and I said that probably this gap might be filled. Now this gap is filled, and also we've reversed from a trend line. Okay, so I think that Bank Nifty is going to recover tomorrow, and I think probably we're going to head higher, or at least Nifty might consolidate while Bank Nifty goes higher, while a couple of other sectors might fall. But from looking at Bank Nifty, I think Bank Nifty still has strength. Bank Nifty has just gone sideways the entire day. So if you take a look at our early charts, it has literally gone sideways, while Nifty has fallen a little bit more, but Bank Nifty has not really fallen. I mean, Bank Nifty has a much proper trend line support than Nifty, right? So both can reverse tomorrow. I have a feeling that they might reverse before we again start another move down, right? But end of the day, this candle here reversal probably we might head higher. So in case you want to go long tomorrow, the rules would be simple. Even Bank Nifty, if you want to go, just keep today's low as stop loss, and you could go long tomorrow if you open a mild gap up or positive kind of neutral scenario. So that's my scenario tomorrow. That would be my plan. Stop loss with today's low and go long tomorrow and see if that works. Or if it doesn't work out, then short this market if it goes below today's low. Okay, so that's the plan for the short and the long, right? So that's the reason here as well. So here also we kind of reversed from a support. So yeah, if you have any plans, if you have any questions, do let me know. But yeah, that should be the plan for tomorrow. Okay, and I think we still have a couple of gaps, right? So to be filled, but I don't think we're going to fill it very soon. It's just my gut feeling. There's no rules as such. But yeah, let's see when that gets filled. But this is the first dip after this entire rally. So I'm just assuming or presuming based on my reasoning that the first dip might be bought. And this is the first dip. And I think we might probably go higher tomorrow. Okay, before we have another major fall. Okay, so that's the Nifty plan. And yeah, now let's look at the stocks, and then we have something interesting today. I have prepared a list of stocks that we will be reviewing. Now, Lakshmi Chem has clearly hit a stop loss, so that was a stop loss there, and it has gone below 530, so we kind of exited Lakshmi Chem. And yeah, so if you see, we have 0 holdings in our positions. I sold off 529.9, kind of saved so much money. Whether that's been said or not, we'll get to know tomorrow. But yeah, it was executed exactly at 530. And I have remaining 3 positions, and the portfolio is kind of on the negative. So we fell around 1%. We've given back some returns, and we have around 36,000 in cash. Yeah, 36,400 in cash, and we need to find some opportunities for that. Right now, before that, let's look at the stocks. Tata Elxsi has had a great red candle. Yeah, well, IT stocks have performed well. Tata Elxsi has not performed, but I think this is just a short-term dip probably. Our stop continues to be around 6,050, and today morning we had a nice move up, but then we kind of gave up all the moves, right? And another stop loss is at 800. We will continue to hold. Today it came close to 805, but let's see if there's a reversal tomorrow. Okay, and Craftsman was one of the performers today. That's a red candle. That's not a green candle. That's a red candle. And yeah, again here we kind of had a one-way move up. Our stop loss still continues to be around 2170, right? So that's a stop loss, and we continue to keep that as a stop loss. Okay, now apart from these stocks, I do have some stocks here. If you see, I've listed 10 stocks. Now 2 stocks are from the newsletter, which I've been tracking for some time, and remaining stocks, there are 2 filters which I use. I say always in a weak market, don't look for pullbacks. Pullbacks tend to fail in a weak market, so never ever look for pullbacks. I mean, towards trendline support or something like that, that might probably fail. A horizontal breakout retest is still fine. Like for example, if you want to look here, now if the market is weak and I had a pullback like this, I'd be totally fine, but I wouldn't buy a trendline reversal pullback. That's probably, it might tend to fail. Okay, so apart from that, so you have to look at weekly. Okay, let's look at the stocks, right? So Gravita, and this is in my I've been watching it for some time, so I do have this. So this is kind of a trendline reversal. We had a good move today. It couldn't sustain because of the weak markets, but I think that this might head higher if the market supports. Otherwise, we might probably go sideways or probably test towards the trendline support, and then we might head higher. But remember, this is also a multi-year breakout. In fact, a multi-decade breakout. We've been I did post this. It's almost a 10-year breakout there, and we're kind of sustaining above that for the first time. Not for the first time, but obviously we've been having amazing volumes since the last many weeks, and it is kind of not cracking yet. We have been having continuous dojis, so that's still a sign of a pause in this entire trend, and I feel that this might head higher. So I'm looking for a stock which is close to multi-highs. So that's the primary reasoning. So Jindal Steel, also if you see, we had a breakout yesterday. We've had a breakout here. We had a retest. Now also if you see Jindal Steel, I hope if everyone is fine if I don't take up questions today in case I don't have time. But this is the trend line support, right? And we did touch this multiple times, and we had a breakout. Now this is kind of a pullback, but we have a support around 163. So that's going to be my stop, and probably this is another stock that I'll be adding. Okay, HEG, all of us know HEG, it has broken out recently, but now this is probably, forming a rectangle pattern as well. Now this is why I say symmetrical triangle breakouts are not reliable. They tend to convert into a rectangle pattern, and this is a best example for that. And this is a rectangle consolidation probably. Now again here, if you consider this as a breakout there, I'm going to consider that as a retest, right? So that's a retest, a breakout, and again a consolidation today. So my stop is going to be 2330 here, and I'm going to probably buy this tomorrow as well. So everything is going to be through GTT, right? So I've given the GTT levels here for all the stocks. So if you see here, I've given all the levels here. Entry price, you can go through it, you can go through the stop loss. Stop loss is usually be the swing low or near the trendline support, whatever it is, right? So Gravitar, for example, if you see Gravitar, so here our stop loss is around 198.5. so if you see 198 is a stop, right? So JSL next is around 163.85, and if you look here, I've kept my stop loss as 165. So 165 is nothing but this green candle over there, right? So this green candle, or you can keep even this lower around 164, 163 is also fine. So I'm assuming that this day low would not break out, will not test. So that's the stop loss. You can, if you're conservative, you can also keep it as 163. It's totally fine. You can change it to 163 if you want. Okay, the next one is MMTC. So MMTC is one of the stocks which had given a breakout yesterday along with all the metal stocks. And the good thing is today it hasn't come below that breakout point. It's kind of closed around that breakout point, and I see probably the metals have done a retest today after the strong moves yesterday, and I presume that this is going to go up again from tomorrow. Again here in the case, stop loss is around 44.35, which is a swing low. Again, stop loss is 44. Okay, so that's MMTC. Then you have HEG. HEG already spoke. 2330 is a stop loss here, which is a retest, and if you consider this as a breakout again, meaning a pullback again, right? So 2335 I kept, so 2338, 2335 I kept. Next is Mahindra CIE. Now Mahindra CIE is a very interesting stock setup. The only thing is here the risk is not very small. Usually I look for very small risk setups, but here the risk is around 10-15%, and that's the only reason I'm not really convinced about this. But if you see, the stock is kind of trying to break out from a 12, 13 year, 14 year consolidation, right? And that looks really good, and I have a feeling that this is going to be a good well money generator. So that's also in my setup here. So that's also horizontal consolidation, right? So in this case, if you go to the daily chart, you will see that the stop here I've given is 268, which is today's low, right? So which is today's low is 268. Now here the risk is I'm taking the trade considering that this will not come down, but the high, since this is not a swing low like a normal trade which I keep, I want to be in this trade because the volumes last 2 days have been excellent, and I feel this is going to go ahead higher from here because it's close to multi-year resistance. And since I want to take a trade, I'm keeping the stop as days low. So and remember, there's a high chance that day low might be taken out, but you're taking that risk. So in markets, all you need to understand is what is the risk you're taking and are you okay with it? Right now, if your stop loss hits, which is 90% probability that your stop loss will hit, then just accept that fact and move ahead, right? If you don't want a stop loss to be hit, then keep your stop loss around 219. But the trade-off is going to be that you're going to have a smaller position size. Now, I don't really like smaller position sizes. For me, anything less than 10% really doesn't make sense. That's the reason why I'm going with bigger position sizes, right? I'm trying to keep my stop here, and if it works out, it works out. Otherwise, it doesn't work out. But remember, it has broken out from that consolidation there. So even if retest, it shouldn't retest to 268. Probably retest towards 270 levels, but not towards 268. Okay, next is high tech. High tech has been in a very strong consolidation. It also did a trendline breakout there. We've had 2 consecutive days of volumes. Now this is a very good setup because this also has been contracting. So that's probably a symmetrical triangle there. And again, as I said, this might convert into a rectangle pattern, but the good thing here is it has broken out from the highs here, and it is trending really good, right? So first it had a trendline breakout there, and now it's having all-time high breakout, and this is the first consolidation after the all-time breakout on the weekly charts. So for me, this setup looks amazing. So that's also going to be in one of my GTTs, right? So here in this case, stop loss is pretty clear, around 573 or 580 could be a stop. So here I've set my stop as 580, which is the green candle low, which is this low, right? So that's the next one. Next is Aksharkim. Aksharkim again has been, in one of the stocks. So all these stocks, if you see, CCI is crossing 100 on the daily or the weekly time frame, except JSL and Gravita. Rest all stocks are just coming out of consolidation and they are moving into CCI 100 on the weekly or on the daily charts. Okay. So again, here Aksharkim has moved well. I think that's a retest here. So you can just check that. That's probably retest. If I consider the retest, then that's going to be my stop. So my stop here is going to be 489. And I'm going to have a position here, right? So I'm sorry. Yeah, Aksharkim is 49 stock. Okay, so that's next stock. Next is Hemi Prop. Now, technically, this stock, fundamentally, this stock, I think it's just a spin-off from the government's business, I think, or I'm not sure what really, but it doesn't have sales, it doesn't have revenue, but it has some land and all that. So you can go and check in the fundamentals. I'm not really interested in fundamentals. But again, this is a nice setup on the charts because it had a massive move and now it kind of corrected and it's been going sideways, right? Volumes are again picking up on the weekly charts. And again, this setup looks amazing for me. A proper trend line breakout today, not a breakout, but it attempted to break out today. Again, the stop loss is pretty small. Stop loss around 136 or 130. Yeah, 136 is a stop loss, which is a swing low, right? Or you can even keep today's low as 139, however you want. Okay, so that's next setup. Then we have Rolex rings. Remember we discussed Rolex ring yesterday. I think Pratik had this question. So Rolex ring has given a breaker today. So I am considering this. The stop loss is low, 1050. Again, if you see, it has come above CCI 100, right? So yesterday CCI was 46. Today CCI has crossed 100. It's 223. So I'm considering this setup as well, which has come on my scanner. So again, the stop loss here for Rolex is 1050 and we enter at current market price. So 1050 is this low, right? And the last stock is GR Infra. Again, an excellent setup. So again, stock if you see has come above 100 on CCI. Yesterday was 93, today was 100, and that's why it's in my scanner. It has broken out again. It has closed above those highs. So 2015 is closing. So my stop is going to be 1965, which is this small handle there. So that's a handle, that's a cup, and probably that's a handle. And so that stop is going to be as close as 1965, right? So these are stocks. You can go through them. Shoot your questions if you have any. But all these stocks are strong stocks, which are looking good and which are close to all-time highs in multi-year consolidations, and that's my primary selection as usual, right? So you need to look for small risks. Now on an average, if you see, my stop loss here is around 6.6%, and the highest being JSL, which is around 8% stop. Rest everything is a 7% stop. Now that 7% stop allows me to take a decent position size. Now as of today, a capital is around 1.22 lakhs, and I'm taking a minimum 10%. On an average, I'm taking a position size of 17%, right, of my portfolio, which is a decent position size. And if it works out well, then we can probably move a couple of stocks here and there. So I will set all these GTTs in Zerodha tonight, and whichever triggers, you can let the market decide which stock wants to go ahead. Every stock looks good. Which stocks will move, no one knows that as of today. But there's every chance that after the trades executed, let's out of 10, we'll have a couple of trades which are executed, and remaining 8 stocks, there's every probability that those 8 stocks outperform and our stocks don't perform. But we do not know that certainly as of today, and that's the probability that we play in markets, right? So if any of them don't perform, if they go sideways, they go sideways. If you want to even have a time stop of probably a month or so and then exit if they don't perform, and if stop loss hits, well and good, we move on to the next stocks. Remember, stop losses here are very small, and that's why we are able to take such big position. Now also one more thing I wanted to highlight today before we move on to other questions is that I've updated the Lakshmi Chem trade here. So if you look here, I've updated the trade here, and this trade has given a return of 12% on overall capital, and this single trade coupled with another trade here has now given an overall profit of 9,443 rupees on a capital of 1 lakh. So we have booked 9,443 rupees as of today, and this trade has given us a 9R trade. So 9.4R is the risk. So we took 1 rupee risk and we've gained 9 rupees. So that's the concept of risk reward. And also if you see overall returns, we have booked around 54.8%. Now remember, 54.8% is after we averaged up. Our initial price was 265 and today we exited at 530, right? So that's exactly around 90% returns. So 250, 500, almost exactly 100% returns. But since we averaged up, the stock really didn't let us average quickly. So we had around 54% average returns. Okay, so now this profit has been added on to our capital. Now this is very important for you to notice. Now this profit has been added down to our capital, and as of today we have booked profits is entire capital that we have is 1,09,444 rupees, and we don't consider the unrealized profits here. We consider only the realized profits, and the risk 1% risk now comes to 1,094. So remember previously we were at 1% was around 1,000 rupees, and today our 1% risk is 1,094, which means we have an additional 0.9% which we are taking an additional risk, and we are risking that money in the markets, right? So tomorrow, let's say we have 36,000 cash, and tomorrow if we, let's say 3 stocks trigger, and let's say the first 3 stocks trigger, and this is probably 41,000, we might not have everything triggered. So let's say 3 stocks trigger, then we're risking 3,000 rupees more from the existing profits that we have booked, right? So this is very important to understand. Now tomorrow there can be a case, let's say the first 2 stocks get triggered, now 26,966, and we have remaining 10k more. Now leave the 10k remaining as it is, and whichever stock moves higher, we can add more, or you can reduce the you can keep 10,000 for the remaining stocks and just add them. For example, what you could do here is calculate 10,000, let's say first 2 stocks get triggered, then calculate 10,000 for all the remaining stocks, and you can calculate the quantity, and that quantity is the quantity that will be bought in the market. Okay, so that's one way to do it. Otherwise, a simple thing is, just keep, you want to execute only few stocks from these out of 10. Let's say you want to execute only 3 of them, then place only 3 GTTs and forget the remaining. That's up to you, but there you're taking a bias, and I don't really take that bias. I want to let the markets decide which stock needs to be bought. So a lot of information today. Go back and play this video, and again, sit and listen to it again. You might not get everything as of today, but this is very important as to how you're selecting the stocks and how you're going to place your orders, and what's the risk that you're going to introduce, and what's your strategy going to be, right? So I'll stop here and I'll now take your questions. Now we have around 10-15 minutes left. I will take all the questions related to strategies today, and if there are no strategy questions, then I'm going to take stock questions, okay? And do bring in those questions tomorrow. Fine. Yeah. So we have 46 people. I'm really happy so many people joined. I think we should be hitting the 50 mark soon, but I'm really happy that we have so many people joining us. Okay. I'll see if there are any strategy related questions, and then we can take up questions related to stocks. Okay, I'm still checking. Not many strategy questions. I have a lot of appreciations coming. Thanks, Vinay. Okay, not many actually, to be honest. Okay, let's then take your stock questions. Okay, so starting with Naresh asks, please cover IRCTC and IEX, Tata Power for good of everyone. See, as I said, right now, for example, Tata Power, if you're trading Tata Power, you must be expecting a good fall today because the stock has gone up from 145 to 263. Now, the dilemma that most of you would have is, should I book profits or not? Right now, remember, a stock which has moved up 80% in just a matter of 20 days is going to consolidate at some point, is going to correct at some point. Now the correction can be multiple ways, right? Now all you need to do is, are you prepared for that kind of a correction, right? Now if you still expect the stock to go higher, that is just unrealistic expectations that from a company like Tata Motors. Now the stock can do multiple things. Now stock can go sideways, right? So it can go sideways like this and then again head higher, or the stock can come all the way and retest that breakout zone there as well. Right now, most of us, what we think is that the stock is going to fall and correct completely. Now, that's not how markets work. So when a stock goes up so fast, it's going to consolidate at some point. It might correct 20-30% or even 50% from that point. So it might come half the way till there, correct and then consolidate and then head higher. Now, if you're an investor, especially, you should definitely not be worrying about one-day falls. If you're a position trader also, you should not be worrying about one-day falls here. But if you're a short-term trader, definitely you should have been booking profits. At least go to the early time frames, and probably at least your stop loss should have been around that point, and then you could have probably book profits. But if you just randomly book profits today, looking at the 10% fall in IEX, IRCTC or Tata Power, that's not really the way to do it. You don't have a plan basically. You're just reacting to the markets. You're just dancing to the market tunes, and that's not how you should be doing it. Now, what I would ideally do is, for me, my stop loss would have been probably there at that point because I'm a positional trader, and probably my stop loss would be even at this point because the stock has moved up so much. I'd probably move to the hourly charts and keep my stop loss at that point. But would I have exited today? Probably not. I wouldn't have exited. I'd have probably waited for tomorrow, and if it went below that point, then probably I'd have exited. But as a investor, you shouldn't even looking at daily charts. You should probably look in weekly charts and wait for a good consolidation, because after every move up, you're going to have some consolidation and then it's going to correct. Right now, you can't catch all the moves in markets. Now, most of us, what we want to do is we want to buy here, sell there, again buy here and sell there. That's never going to happen. You can't just do that continuously. It's just impossible. So what you can do is, if you do trend following, and if you, let's say, you bought even there, right? So the first time I remember I posted Tata Power was somewhere there. Now, if you had bought at this inverted head and shoulders breakout, then probably you could have trailed your stop loss, nicely, first at this point, then at this point, then at this point, and you just wait for next consolidation to happen, right? At the max, what you would lose is some money which you have planned. If you had a proper plan, you would lose that money which you planned. Otherwise, you would not be really panicky. Now, what would have happened to most of us, or most of the people who are new to markets, is we'd have bought somewhere here or somewhere there. Now, that's where the problem is. You should not be buying once stock has moved up 15-20%. You should not be buying until there's a proper consolidation or until there's a proper correction. Without that, you should not be really entering into a stock just randomly. Okay, and try to avoid that. That's the biggest reason why most of the people would be stuck in markets. For example, if you had entered IRCTC today, and let's say today it opened around 6,100, and if you had bought it this morning, then definitely you're going to lose money, right? Because you are not following the rules. You're just buying because everyone's talking about IRCTC. And the same applies to even IEX. IEX also, if you had bought this today, that's not how you buy it, right? You probably have to wait for a good consolidation, and a stock which has gone up so much will correct at some point, and that correction is, if it happens on the day you're buying, then you're going to be depressed. You're going to lose your money, and especially IEX and ISA on futures and options. If you did go long on any of these futures trades, then you'd be in big loss. So start correcting your trades, start correcting your mistakes, learn from it, and I think probably you will improve from there. Okay. Yeah, otherwise, I'm sorry, let's move on with some of your questions. Storm catches every day, and will Jupiter recover the huge fall? I have no idea. No one knows whether it will recover tomorrow or not, and no one can tell you, right? In the long term, maybe yes, it will recover. In the long term, everything works out finally, but in the short term, no one can really tell you whether the stock will recover or not. Only the markets can tell you. Okay, otherwise, it's just a waste of time to predict markets in the short term. So that's why we always go with the flow. Amar Raja is in a very bad shape. I think it is. I really thought this was a breakout there, but it seems like that's a bad breakout failure. It's probably heading lower, right? So on the long-term charts also, if you see, this is the long-term uptrend. We've had a channel run there. So probably it's going to correct for some more time before it heads higher. So probably, I don't still see a good green candle on the monthly charts, except for that 1 month. It's still in a strong downtrend after that move from March. So probably it's going to take some more time before it moves higher. Okay, Devyani International, let's look at this. Yeah, this looks good. This looks good. It's trying to break out probably. Now, if you want to hold this, you can. Now, the reason it didn't come on my scanner is because it did not cross 100. But otherwise, it will come to my scanner when it's around 126 levels. Then probably it'll come to the scanner. But for now, it looks like it has made a bottom. So the stock does look good. So you keep your stop loss around 110 odd, and then you can enter the stock. Okay, let's expect that it does well going forward. Okay. Venki stop loss is correct, Dinesh. Eat, parry, let's look at it. Is it a breakout retest? Probably. I'm not sure yet. Right now, remember, stock retests can happen deep. It can also come all the way to 447 levels, right? So I call that a deep retest. And also it can come all the way up to even 430. Right, so that's a swing low. So there's every chance for a stock after it breaks out to come back and it is a swing low. So always keep that as a possibility. As of today, I'm not sure. Tomorrow, if it reverses, probably that's a breakout retest confirmation. Probably, right? That's the point note. Greaves Cotton, and let's look at it. Greaves Cotton is just going sideways. Again, it didn't break the swing low on the weekly charts. On the weekly charts, if you see, that's a major swing low, and this is acting as a nice support. So again, from an investment perspective, yes, definitely you can hold. Short term, traders, I think you shouldn't be looking at this yet. Probably if it crosses 152, maybe yes, or you can look at it right now with the stop at 133. But if you're an investor, then your stop loss should be around this point, around at least 115, 116, if you're a long-term investor, right? But yeah, it's if it breaks out above 178, 80 levels, then probably yes, right? So then it looks good. Navkar is just going sideways. Probably it's retesting that trend line there, right? It did try to break out of the trend line, but it's probably retesting. This could be a good entry. It's a pullback trade probably. Keep a stop loss on 36.7 and probably it can do well. But if you're a little conservative, then you need to probably wait and then enter only when it crosses 45, 50 levels, and then you can take a hit at it maybe. But yeah, that's the trend line I'm looking at. I think it shouldn't break this. If it breaks this, then probably you're going to have some trouble, some more consolidation maybe. But that's a nice trend line, retest there, and I think it might reverse soon. Just have some patience maybe. Okay, so that's my view. PFC bought at 144 range. Okay, you're asking can it see 155, 168? I'm not sure, but PFC, I was actually expecting a breakout here. In fact, in the power sector, but it has been going sideways since 2010. If you see, there's a long downtrend, and it's just trying to cross that, and it got rejected. Will it cross? I'm not sure, but keep a stop loss around 138, and if it goes below 138, please exit short term. And then if you want, you can enter again. But will it go to 155, 168? I have no idea. Probably yes, if 138 holds, right? If that swing low holds, then probably yes. Okay, sale. Okay, yeah, I think sale, as I said, I think probably the entire metal sector is just doing a retest. So unless this low is not taken out, right? So sale 115 should not be taken out. That's a swing low there, and unless I think that is not taken out, I think it can head higher. And let's see tomorrow whether it depends completely on tomorrow how the markets open, how metals react, and if tomorrow we have a good day in metals, or at least a consolidation metals, and if you don't fall below 115, then probably as 140 can be seen as well. Hey Suman, Ishant Shende is asking on KSB, is it a pullback? I'm not sure what's the question. Is it a combination pullback retest of previous resistance? Probably, I'm not really sure, but it's just going sideways, right? Yeah, you're asking about this one, I think. So that's the zone where it kind of had a breakout there, and it's kind of retesting. Yeah, it looks like probably, right? But I'm not sure yet. It's just been going sideways. It looks compared to other stock, it does look strong. Just keep a stop around 1200, and then probably you can take a go at it. But overall, I think the stock has excellent strength. It's been just going higher and higher. It can tend to go higher as well. Jubilant Ingrevia looks bad today. I think most of our stop loss hit on Jubilant Ingrevia. I think the problem is here the short-term swing has been taken out, and it does look weak on charts and massive volumes today. So I'm not sure what's the news. It does seem like it's kind of topping out for now. But yeah, if you have positions, and probably the last support that I'd look at is this low around 650. That's the last support I'd look at. On the weekly charts also, if you see, that's a major swing low, 650. So if you have a close even below 695 this week, then I think probably you're going to see some short-term consolidation or correction. That only markets will tell us. Okay, but it does look bad. Vilash, based on Excel sheet, entered HL 6 days back and my stop loss hit. Even I lost your money, but yeah, the good thing is you are following your plan, and I think that's very important, right? It's really important to follow your plan no matter what, because you never know what's going to happen in the market. So, but yeah, it does look bad today. It hit your stop loss. So I'm glad you exited and booked a small loss. Okay, Prakash, can we check on Nifty on our channel? It reversed from channel top. It might come to the channel bottom. Maybe. I think I did speak about this. It didn't really hit the channel top, but it was almost close to the channel top. I think I covered this in the newsletter. That's why I mentioned 18,600 as the levels to watch out for. And I think we exactly kind of, came from 18,600. So I was expecting to touch, probably 18,700, but we kind of reversed from that level. So maybe, if this middle channel stays, right? So if you see the middle channel here, kind of reversed there, we had a support around that zone. So if the kind of middle channel we reverse from there, so probably we're heading back to 18,700. As I said, tomorrow is very important, and if tomorrow we can reverse from these levels, then probably there's one more upside before we come down. Okay, Abhinav is happy that his Fortis took a stop loss. It's good. So when stop loss is hit, which means the stocks, the stocks are not good, they are having weakness, and move on to stocks which are doing well, right? So, but good, you had the patience. I really appreciate that you had the patience to stick to it until the stop loss hits. Amarjeet, GSFC. Now GSFC is probably a breakout retest, right? Now the reason I'm saying is, if you see, we've had a low here, and again we kind of closed above the low. Again we had a low here, and that's a double, we had double resistance there, and we are kind of reversed. So this could be a risky trade, but you could take a trade keeping today's lower stop, and if you want, you can enter at current market price or enter above, even today's high. So if that holds, then probably yes, it is. Or remember, as I said, it can always come back to the swing low here, but you can take such trades in such markets. If markets are good, you might get a really good risk reward trade. Okay, but yeah, it looks like a breakout retest, Amarjeet. Hopefully it reverses tomorrow. Thanks Vinay for the appreciation. Abhinav, Confidence CUB. Okay, I'm just taking some extra time so that a lot of you would be panicking because of today's market. So I'll just cover questions quickly, and then we can ignore my many lines. But yeah, it does look it has broken the trend line, but as I always say, you need to look for the previous support. So in case you're holding this, then I look at that as a support. 641, but remember, this is close to a resistance, previous all-time high resistance. So it breaks out, it can give a good move. The volumes do look good in the last many weeks, and it might consolidate for some more time before it heads higher. But yeah, keep a stop around 640 for this. CUB, I think CUB had a breakout, there, and it's just probably retesting. It can come retest all the way. So that's a horizontal breakout there, right? So you can come and test all the way to 160. It might, or it might just touch here and reverse. But yeah, it does look good. Probably short-term correction before we hit higher. Now, in case you want, you can keep a stop loss as close to 150 or even around 147. That also would work out. Okay. Okay, there are a lot of questions. I hope we are asking one person one question or two questions. Otherwise, I can just keep going on forever, right? And it's getting too late. So OFSS looks fantastic on the charts. It has given a breakout. Stop loss here is 4,400, and Tech Mahindra also looks good. It has crossed the previous highs. Again, stop loss there is pretty straightforward, 1360. So we never really went below that point. I did say that short-term traders have exited below that point, but you could have entered again, above that swing high there, or even above today's high as well. But it does look good. Stop loss is 1360 for Techem. Okay, so Sagar, permanent magnets, and Garware High Tech. It still looks good, Sagar. We've had a breakout there. It's just probably a retest. Even today's candle looks excellent. So continue to hold with the stop around 320. There's nothing to worry. Garware High Tech. This looks good. It's one of the stocks which has been solid today, probably, right? And it has also kind of broken out from the downtrend. So you could take a small position with a stop around 869. It does look good. Kunal, Dalmia Bharat has broken the trend line. I already seen the chart. So yes, it does look bearish. The entire cement space again has broken many supports. So yes, it does look bearish. VSSL for swing. I'm not really a swing trader, but yes, you can take it. Just keep a stop around 230. I think the downtrend has broken out. It's close to the previous highs. You can take a swing trade with a stop around 230. Suman. Varun, stocks can trade low. Indian Bank has been trading low after excellent results. All that doesn't matter. You can enter Indian Bank for positional. I think the entire PSU banking space can be entered for positional, but you just need to define a stop loss. Right now for this, the stop loss can be 138 or even 124, right? But you can enter. Probably it's a breakout retest that we'll get to know in a couple of days when markets reverse. If they don't, then it's not, right? HUL, It depends on what kind of trader you are, Harshal. I'm not sure. You need to tell me what kind of trader you are. Are you looking for short-term, long-term investment? It depends on that. Okay, thanks, Nitin. Guys, yes, please like the videos. Yes, Suprajit. Let's take a look at Suprajit. Suprajit has broken out after the trend line. So we had a nice trend line reversal there, right? And it is just proper correction because of markets today. The stop loss can be 320 or even 305 levels. Okay. Kumari, yes, EC also has divergences, but I don't follow divergences. Reddington, I think Reddington, the stop loss can be around 136. I still feel this can head higher. Okay, yeah, keep a stop loss around 136 or 135 also. Okay, Deepak Nitrate. I think Deepak Nitrate broke out recently. It's just consolidating still. In the weak market, did really well. So if you want to enter now, the stop loss can be around 2,300. Okay, Hedgie Infra. I think again Hedgie Infra is a very strong stock. You can enter with a stop around 650. 650 should be a stop for positional. And if you're investing, then probably stop loss should be on the weekly charts, probably around 490. Okay. Okay, probably in Grevia, yes, it posted the big numbers. Not really into it. Okay, guys, please post your question just once. I will go through each and every question, and I'm looking at it. Rajesh is asking TVS Motor weekly for short term. I see short term is, if you're asking me the question, which means you're not a good trader. That's why you're asking me the question. Now, short term, please do not trade if you're, if you're not really into markets. Short-term trades are very difficult to handle. They fluctuate really a lot. But if you're positional, yes, definitely, yes, keep a stop on 519. We are having higher and higher lows. So keep a stop loss on 519 or even 540. Okay. Sona Comstar, no, not yet. I think it has gone up a lot. You should not be entering. I just told that, right? You should not be entering stocks which have gone up a lot. So probably wait for it. It might come towards the trend line retest. But if you want to enter now, it's up to you. Keep a stop around 540 and enter. Okay. Yes, Vijay, we made a new high today. Thanks for joining, everyone. And Maruti, last couple of stocks. Let's take Maruti. I think Maruti looks good, from the auto space. It has kind of reversed from a trend line support and a breakout. So that's on early charts, which I drew some time back, right? So you can enter even now, with a stop. I'm not sure if it's for your investment or what. If it's an investment, your stop loss should be around 6,500 levels. For a positional trade, keep your stop loss around 7,080. Okay, Sun Pharma, I think Sun Pharma is also correcting. It did have I was expecting it to reverse, but it did not reverse. It is having a short-term correction. The stop loss here can be 795. Okay, and it looks good. It looks good on charts. It can head higher. Lupin is the last question. Now, Lupin, is kind of reversing from that. If you look at the weekly charts, it will be more clear. It's reversing from there. You can take a position now or above 990 or 1000 with a stop around 910 odd. Okay, but I think the pharma space is kind of had a flat day, not a flat day, but yeah, looking at these stocks, it have a decent day. Okay, last stock is PFS, and then we are kind of closing our session. PTC does look excellent. I think I did share it in one of my newsletter recommendations. I think it's about to break out from that long-term downtrend since it started in 2014. It can do well. Keep a stop loss around 18.8, or if you want a better stop loss, you can keep even around 16.5. Okay, so that should get me a stop loss, but it's a massive consolidation and a breakout can be excellent. I think probably I'll consider this in the, in the portfolio as well. I'll probably add the stock. The stop loss is pretty low, and I can look at it. Okay, so if I add, I'll let you know, but otherwise, a fantastic stock again can do well. It's been consolidating since many months. It's a rectangle consolidation. A breakout can really take this higher. Okay, so these are the stocks. I hope I answered all your questions. Yeah, and we have done also 1,500 subscribers. Thank you, everyone. I think it was really, I really felt happy talking about my process of stock selection, and I hope you also learn. And don't forget to like this video, and don't forget to share the video with your friends, and keep your risk in check. Don't be in a hurry to learn about markets. Give it its time. Take a year or two. Take small money, deploy it, learn, keep learning with me, and then you will at some point you will also be profitable. So I'll leave you here. Thank you, and yeah, trade safe.